Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now December 20th of 2023, and I think that we could all admit here that 2024 is going to be a very difficult year for Disney because of how empty it really is, especially for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've had everything ranging from box office failures throughout this year, the up and down roller coaster of the Disney stock, and let's not forget about the closure of the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel for Disney and how Bob Iger failed with that miserably. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, the thing about Bob Iger right now is that he is scrambling for any kind of relevant projects to take control of in order to gain any kind of authenticity as a CEO. We know that this is a CEO, by the way, that lies, that strings along his what he calls customers and shareholders into the following year at all costs and by all means necessary, mind you. That's why he will never admit that Disney is failing miserably month by month. Now, one thing about Ryan Reynolds and the whole Deadpool 3 drama and the creative differences that are arising from the writers like Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick siding with Ryan Reynolds against Disney and how it all eventually raveled, of course, to a point where Ryan Reynolds literally cost Disney hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's get into all of this. Now, one thing about Ryan Reynolds that I think he should have done well before ever even deciding to hop on board of Deadpool 3 was to do your research about Disney's track record, right? Some believe that Ryan knew what he was getting into, others believe that Ryan had absolutely no idea. I, however, believe that he knew what he was getting involved with, but maybe he had some kind of hope that Deadpool 3 would be the exception because of the way things were going at the time, and then at last minute, Disney had a change of heart to throw in DEI into the third act. Now, with the Deadpool 3 drama only making matters worse for Disney's sake, one major development has to do with how actor Ryan Reynolds recently cost Disney millions of dollars in the wake of the creative differences for the third Deadpool film. After many arguments erupted between Reynolds and those like Bob Iger and the rest of the higher-ups at Disney over the latest direction for X-Men, Ryan was granted a multi-film deal that was in constant discussions, of course, that would offer co-writing opportunities, some of which he was removed from. However, just recently, Reynolds walked away from one project in particular that was going to focus on Phase 7 and the mutant era for the MCU. As it turns out, Reynolds was going to co-write a mutant project that would focus on a series of new X-Men that would be considered classic characters. Though, after Jonathan Majors was fired and Disney taking an alternate route to enhancing DEI into the mutant era, Ryan recently walked away from this untitled project willingly that was actually set to introduce both classic characters played by familiar actors and new actors alike. Now, this film has now reportedly been axed completely by Disney after Ryan left the project, essentially forced Disney to locking up these plans in a vault as they move on to reimagine the mutant era as opposed to previous plans before they fired Jonathan Majors. Now, the main reason Reynolds walked away from both of these, of course, projects was both due to the creative differences after Deadpool 3's third act and the agendas spilling into the new X-Men project that was going to serve, by the way, as a spin-off to the main X-Men film that Ryan was going to co-write. With Reynolds now out on that project and Disney canceling it due to only holding confidence in this film if Ryan's direction was, of course, involved, that is not only contradictory, but also a lack of focus on Iger's part. Disney, of course, analysts projected that in a recent meeting for Disney that this X-Men project in particular would be a guaranteed profitable film, garnering hundreds of millions of dollars worldwide at the box office, following the main X-Men film. And though these movies are a ways off to begin with, Iger is already looking to revamp the MCU that will expedite the release of the start of the mutant era. This is why fans got to see X-Men cameos, or a cameo, at the end of the Marvels, to slowly squeeze their way into those series of films before Phase 7 officially begins. As of now, Reynolds is only attached to Deadpool 3 via Disney and is also attempting to get some of the projects that he was removed from reinstated without their agendas spilling into said projects. This is an ongoing battle between Reynolds, Paul Wernick, and Rhett Reese going up against the Disney heads. Now guys, let me just pause here quick before I get to the big conclusion about this ongoing drama. Now, the fact that the film that he was attached to as a co-writer was going to be considered a spin-off of the new main X-Men movie, and how once he walked away willingly, it forced Disney into a position of axing this movie completely because they knew they needed Ryan to make this movie work. Most likely, and we don't know the exact specifics, but most likely, the reason why they felt that Ryan was needed for this project was his overall vision and direction for Deadpool, aka Wade Wilson. We already know that Disney initially wanted to have more usage out of Deadpool in the form of cameos, so I have no doubt in my mind that this is why they put all faith into this project, only if Ryan Reynolds was on board. And with that now gone in the wind and no longer happening, that just goes to show you that Disney caves quite easily nowadays when it comes to any kind of stardom power that they have, that they eventually lose, and how they put all faith into specific individuals about how these projects are going to work. So again, moving onwards. However, the project that Ryan Reynolds willingly walked away from was indeed going to focus on classic X-Men characters that would be reimagined and from the classic comics, that woke agendas that he did not agree with at all in the least. This project was also set to bring in a return of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again, a project that now is one less gig for Hugh under Disney since its premature cancellation, in the light of the Jonathan Majors situation creating a ripple effect on Bob Iger's plans for the MCU. So again, I mean, this Jonathan Majors scenario, it really is creating a domino effect on the way it's organized, right? The whole roadmap, how everything is going to be written and directed. We know that they wanted to make Kang central to upcoming major releases, especially the Kang Dynasty, and we talked about this in the previous post if you want to check it out again. Bob Iger and Kevin Feige are kind of going back and forth, and whether or not they want to recast or just completely cancel the Kang Dynasty altogether is something that's being heavily discussed day in and day out right now after Jonathan was found guilty and fired by Disney and Marvel Studios. So again, the Marvel Universe is in shambles. 2025 is already looking to be a very bad start with Fantastic Four, and how Captain America 4 is also going to be a woke disaster. Let's not forget about Blade 2025, that was originally going to be all female led until the scripts were changed and cancelled, and now being, of course, altered to really kind of alter that story. This is why Ali had a lot of problems on the set and wanted to walk away from that project. Now, I think at the end of the day, this is all going to end up worse, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon unless there's some kind of resolution or agreement between those like Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, and Bob Iger. So anyway guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.